I'm sure you guys know who Kamala Harris is. She is one of the picks that the corporate Democrats have to run in 2020 for president. And we covered a story not too long ago, I believe it was around 2 weeks ago, in which someone was at a town hall of Kamala Harris's and asked her, hey, will you promise not to take any corporate or PAC money in this upcoming election in 2020 if you are to run? Now, she gave a horrendous answer saying, no, I basically won't make that promise. And she goes on to make some apologetics saying, oh, I'll be able, that's why it's good that there are laws that disclose how much money is donated, and then you can make your decision. It's like, okay, that's kind of a weak, very, very weak answer, actually. Massively weak answer. Now, we have an update on that, which is kind of hilarious. So, she was, I guess, in an interview with the Breakfast Club. Now, she says, quote, I did a town hall a couple weeks ago in California, and I was asked that question. And I wasn't expecting the question. I thought about it afterwards. And I'm going to tell you, Charlemagne, I think that money has had such an outside influence on politics, and especially with the Supreme Court, it determining Citizens United, which basically means that big corporations can spend unlimited amounts of money influencing a campaign, right? We're all supposed to have an equal vote, but money has now really tipped the balance between an individual having equal power in an election to a corporation. So I've actually made a decision since I had that conversation that I'm not going to accept corporate PAC checks. So here's the thing. I'm now at this point in time extremely cautious and skeptical as to whether she's telling the truth, because she has already tried to basically cement her progressiveness in other ways, but it has been a massive failure, as you can already tell. She already went back on her word, as evidenced by 2 weeks ago in which she was speaking at this town hall, and she gave a horrendous answer. And the thing is that money in politics has become so convoluted and just so horrendous in our system that I think that we're more of an oligarchy than we are a democracy at this point, because you look at constant issues where 90% or more of the people agree, but because of big corporations' interest in being against those American people, that's what our legislatures do, which is not representing the people. That's by definition an oligarchy. Like, so for example, universal background checks, over 90% of the people agree with that. Bump stocks, I don't know what the exact number is, but vast majority of people agree with that, banning bump stocks. But none of those things happen because of the NRA and them funding. So you're looking at a special interest group, which is a very small, minuscule faction of the country, the NRA specifically. And that's the reason why why this legislation doesn't get through, and that's why the American people are not represented within our legislatures. Now, what other issues? Net neutrality. As you guys know about net neutrality, not just net neutrality, but the internet privacy bill that was signed into law by President Doofus Trump also, I think, only had like an 8% approval rating. And so basically what you're looking at here is little small groups of, corporations and special interest groups that are deciding and, being the ones who are ending up deciding, what the actual legislation ends up being, instead of the American people, which is how a democracy is supposed to work. In a democracy, Congress is supposed to represent the American people, not minuscule corporations or special interest group. Now, when it comes to Kamala Harris's answer in specific, again, I don't believe it at this point. I don't believe it. I'm not trusting her to not take corporate money. If she flip-flop within a matter of 2 weeks, how can I trust her because again, it's 2018 right now, the election is 2020. So you're looking at 2 years, campaigning will probably start in like a year and a half, so you're looking at, quite a bit of time to be able to trust her, which is just, of course, ridiculous. Now, am I going to give her some credit for saying this? Sure. But at this point, how can I trust her? Can anyone tell me how I can trust Kamala Harris at this point in time? Now, the answer that she gave was completely detestable and massively stupid, and it lost a lot of potential or any progressives who were thinking about voting for her. Kamala Harris 2020 is a no-go. We have to go with Bernie Sanders or someone who will not be beholden to corporations and PAC dollars, but beholden to the American people, because that's how the system is supposed to work. That's what we call democracy, not in fucking oligarchy.